Before we get into this in great detail, I want to show you what we went through beginning of training. You're going to learn about buoyancy and salinity, and we're going to kind of set the stage before we go on this journey with these Navy folks. First lesson, float, okay? So we have a kit. We have a plate carrier. Plate in front, 25 pounds. Plate in back, 25 pounds. 25 pounds. Heavy. All right, you stand in one place all day with those plates on and your back gets sore. We have a foam insert on both sides, so we can jump in the water and float. It depends on what type of water though. So here you'll see I'm gonna jump into a saltwater pool that's not very salty. And from the beginning, I'm struggling. I'm like immediately having trouble staying afloat. Okay, now Maria and Johnny jump in. They're gonna help. Here's Dustin. Dustin is a retired SWCC, and he's in there just to make sure none of us drown. But as you can see, I'm sucking up water. All right, here's my helmet cam right now. Johnny's coming in. He's feeling the same thing I'm feeling. He's like, I can't float, okay? Me and Johnny are both thinking, look at Maria's face there. Notice she's smiling. She's not worried whatsoever. You're gonna learn why in a bit. There's Dustin. Dustin's like, okay, I'm gonna save this man. Johnny can't swim, neither can I. So you can see me, I'm hanging on to the little bodyboard there to stay afloat, and Johnny's being brought in because he is not buoyant in this water. This is a saltwater pool. This is in Navy, in San Diego. It's a Navy base. This is where all this, like the swim testing comes back. In the background there, you can see a survival raft. You'll see these big gray tubes all over ships. Those are filled with survival rafts. So it contains fishing gear, clean water stuff, and ability to survive food, ability to survive for like 10 days for like 10 to 25 people. So that's how that goes. Okay, so here I am, SWCC instructor behind me, Rowdy. Rowdy's right here saying, no, you're not neutrally buoyant in this water. You're not buoyant, so you need to take the plates out. So we take the plates out, and we finished our pool training, and you can see we're pretty green. Here's Marquez. We missed his neck. He somehow got a neck brace around his face. This is funny. This is hilarious. Dustin's like, the guy swimming back there is like, look at these jokers, you know? So we took the plates out and everything. We ended up figuring out how to stay buoyant in this water, but it definitely was a big problem. Maria didn't have plates in this whole time. She was just straight up. She was smarter than all of us. She didn't wear the plates, and she wasn't fooled by some idiot in the class before us that told us to wear plates to the pool thing. All right, so now we're switching into real salt water. So this is the same stuff. We have our kits on, we have our plates, we have our foam, and here they go. They're going to enter really salty water, and they're all really buoyant, okay? The density of water, I'll put the real facts down here, but the density of water is much different in the ocean or like a bay. So here you're going to see us all jumping in the water, and none of us are having a problem. We're not even treading water. We're staying above. Now, we're about 20 pounds light, right? So most of us have an M4 and M9. We don't have guns on us, and whatever else we're carrying. So you can eliminate like 20 pounds of gear while we're doing this competition. And yeah, we're taught to what happens if the boat capsizes. What do we do? How do we swim? How do we get out of here? And the fact is, nobody swims in the ocean, okay? You go deep ocean, nobody's gonna swim. All right, so next, our transition is we're working with Marine Recon, okay? We're talking about VBSS with them. Now, you're gonna see here, there's a caving ladder. Caving ladder is just that. It's for like caves and stuff like that. If you're trying to climb up a rock face in a tight spot, you have this little tiny thin ladder. This is a great video of a caving ladder. See these caving ladders? They basically have the width of a boot. I mean, there's a million reasons why this ladder has to be small. You know, we don't have room on boats, first of all, to fit big ladders, okay? And these ladders need to be able to be moving because the ocean is constantly moving. So you can't put some rigid thing up there. You need basically this. And so you see how fast the guy with no gear gets up. That's Kyle. And the guy with gear, who's got his M4 or whatever, he's packing, probably 80 to 100 pounds of gear. He's climbing right up, okay? So on one side, there's no gear. It's hard enough. It's slow enough. I mean, there's no movement here either, right? You got people anchoring this. And look how easily Carmen gets up. Female Carmen, she's awesome. Here, Carmen's climbing the ladder. She's our navigation specialist. She, without gear on, she can get up there just as fast as, or faster than these guys. But with extra 100 pounds of gear on you, it is tough. This guy's gear is also wet. You're adding a lot of weight to that climb. After all the briefs, after all the training, there's a lot of safety stuff going on. We end up integrating with the Marines. We take Marine recon on our boats with us, okay? Now, it's important to know this is a great shot because it shows you how many Marines are on the back of this boat. This is too many Marines on the back of the boat. If there's too much weight on the back of the boat, it is hard to propel that boat through the water. Now, each boat, the SOP for each boat is you have a forward gunner who is also your navigator, okay? You have an engineer who is also your aft gunner. You have your boat captain, which is the boat driver, which is usually a boatswain mate, which is like a deckhand on a ship, boatswain mate, very proud rate. You also have our officer in charge. The Marines here have their officer in charge. They have 8 operators in the back. That is the SOP for these boats, okay? That's going to come in very important at the end of this. If you put too many people on this boat, it gets heavy. It gets slow. Now what you're going to see, look at the Marines are climbing over. That was an easy climb, easy day. Boat pulls up, they could just kind of flip over, okay? There's no hook and ladders. There's no caving ladders yet. This is just, we're inching through this stuff, okay? Just as we had to learn how to float in our gear, we're inching through this process, which is extremely dangerous. Now we're integrating the top-down portion of this, okay? So we're hitting them. If you have a wooden dowel or a bad guy, they're going to come in from the top and the bottom. In that helicopter right there is 8 more guys and snipers. The problem with the helicopter for the boat is there's a lot of prop wash. So basically, you're in a spin cycle. Water's getting all over the place. It's hard to see. You have to wear goggles when you're on the boat. So here you go. We're going to pull up on this really easy climb boat. But you can say boats are not just flat. They're not just easy. There's a lot of things. This boat has tires for buffers, right? So when this boat, this is usually probably a tugboat or some sort of boat that is used to get people or things from one boat to the other, so they have to slam up against it. If you slam up against it metal and metal, you're going to get dents, obviously. So anyway, that's why the tires are there. So they're climbing up. There's no ladder here. They're just climbing up on the natural things of the boat. Now that we're comfortable with the helicopters, now we're comfortable with the Marines, now they know the deal, that we're going to start ramping it up, okay? We're going to start doing stuff at nighttime, because at nighttime, we're sneaking up on you. There's no doubt about it. We're going to come after you at night because we see way better than you at night. We have the better equipment. We have the better technology. At night, we can beat you 100%. There's no country in the world that operates better than us at night. Here the Marines are climbing up on the dhow. I don't know if they have, I don't think they even have a ladder up yet. Oh, they do have a little ladder here. So they're climbing up on 2 spots. You see both boats here. There's a boat in the back and a boat in the front. You got 2 ladders. Easy climb. After the last Marine is off, we're going to pull off slowly. We're going to get to the side, make sure everything's good. We're going to assess the situation. Now we're going to move to the back of the boat. Now, if anybody falls off, we're going to be able to scoop them up. And that's our whole job. Our whole job is to make sure the safety of these Marines, okay? One falls off, we come in slowly. We figured it out, okay? We're going to pull away from the boat. Now, when the boat's stuck to another boat, it's hard because there's something called the Venturi effect. And the Venturi effect is, in fact, a suction to the other boat. So it has to be a careful separation before we can actually move. Also, when you don't just turn a boat and it goes that way. When you turn a boat this way, the ass end of the boat goes the other way, okay? We all have night vision on. If somebody goes into that water, we see them right immediately, and we're in there. We're going to capture them. We got ropes, we got things to hang on to, we got a bunch of fail-safe things to pull people out of water because we do a lot of man overboard. If you're going to be on a small boat, you're going to experience man overboards. Okay, we're really comfortable. We do this for 3 days, 3 or 4 days. Mind you, none of us have sleep. Our boat broke down during this time. We're tired. But now, I think a week later or something, we go and we meet the Marines in Santa Barbara. I want you to really get your eyes on what a swell looks like, okay? So if you're a good boat driver, you're going to face the nose of your boat to the swell. So the swell comes and it rocks like this, okay? You do not want the rocking to go like this. Now here comes an 8-foot swell right here. That's an 8-foot swell. At that day, so we went out. We briefed our captain at this time. We said that the seas were 6 to 8 feet. They ended up being 4 to 6 feet on our journey out there, but in that specific spot, they were 8 to 10 feet. So we're having a lot of trouble getting these guys on this oil platform based on the sea state. The sea state was too rough at times for us to even, it became a very dangerous evolution. And notice that oil platform is not moving. So we are moving. All right, this is combat cameras footage. So this is the appropriate number of people on one of these boats, okay? You have 8 people in the back. Those are your warfighters. You have 2 officers in charge, and one of those is Navy. So anyway, 9. You have 9 Marines on this craft. The key to this is really using your legs. If you use your arms, you're going to be dust. People fall off this thing more than you would imagine. Okay, it's fast rope goes down, and here we go. They're going to slide down it. Hopefully they don't break their ankle. And it's a beautiful view going down. And there we go. Now they're on. All right, once you got all the Marines out of the helo, now the only people in the helo are the crew, helo crew, and then the Marine snipers. So usually 1 or 2 per helicopter. Prior, the SEALs were working with these Sri Lankans, and one of them got chopped up in the propeller. Fell off the caving ladder and got chopped up in the propeller. So needless to say, our safety concerns were very high here. Here we go. We're good. We've done this a million times. Here we go. My job in this is pretty minimal. My job in this is if I'm the lead gunner of the lead boat that's going to assault the ship, if they see us, which they never will, if they see us, then I'm going to have to put their heads down with some fire. But after we hit the side of the boat, I'm just basically, making sure somebody at the front of the boat doesn't like pop a grenade over or whatever. So that's what we're doing. So now these are recon Marines climbing this ship. And the ship's not that big. It's it's a mid-size ship. But as you can see, here the sea state is increased. Now you're talking about 2 or 3 feet of sea state. Not very much at all, okay? 2 or 3 feet. That's what we briefed. 2 or 3 feet of sea state. I briefed it. That's my job. I'm the head person involved with it. I'm the quartermaster. So I know the navigation route. I know the sea state. I know the wind. I know everything. And I've briefed them correctly. It's 2 to 3 feet. Not very big. But look how much we're moving here. We're moving it a lot, right? This is not easy, dude. And you saw in the pool, they had that anchor. They had somebody holding on to it. Well, they got somebody holding on to that boat, trying to make that caving ladder taut so it's easier to climb. Super hard. We didn't lose anybody, though. This is recon Marines. They are no joke, dude. They are no joke. There's old Craig behind me, pointing his gun at the expanse of the ocean. We're just having a fun. It doesn't get any more fun than this in training. Okay, now we are going to the actual event. Before we go into the SEAL mission, you have to understand where in the world we're at, okay? So you're talking about Eastern Africa, Yemen, Oman, North Arabian Gulf, Arabian Sea, and then Gulf of Aden. This is the most dangerous waterway in the entire world, okay? This route right here. It goes from Iran all the way up, around and up. This is the hotbed for trafficking children, women, drugs, and rockets. This is it. Where these red circles are, these are the hottest places. And we hear about Houthis shooting rockets from the beach, trying to hit Navy warships or cargo ships. You're talking about the first of the top one, right? The top red. Wherever the land and the sea meet where they're closest, right? Because they could shoot them from the land. You're talking about Houthis or people shooting rockets from these areas. I mean, it's been happening for decades and decades and decades. When I was in the Navy and we were going through this area, they were talking about decades of these idiots shooting RPGs at warships here. Right now, it's hot and heavy, dude. If you're in the United States Navy, you are rocking and rolling. Anyway, this is the one place where a warship can get hit by a rocket or a small boat, right? So if you go 250 nautical miles out to sea, you're not going to get some small boat out there because a small boat can't reach you. Okay, so a lot of these boats carrying women, children, rockets, or drugs, they are hugging the land because of gas. It's the best way. It's the best and most efficient way. There's usually gas stations in places like this chokehold right here. I'm sure there is. This is also the same body of water where we lost the USS Cole. Well, temporarily lost. You guys have heard of USS Cole, I'm sure. The Red Sea itself is one of the most saltiest bodies of water in the world. And it empties out into the Gulf of Aden. And the average salinity if you took the entire world and all the water and you tested that water, it would be 35 parts per million of salt. Okay? So you have the Red Sea, which is 40 parts per million, and then you have the Gulf of Aden, which is 37 parts per million, which basically means this is buoyant ass water. I mean, if you fall in, you're going to float. I have swam right here where this circle is, and it's insane how much you float. It's so salty that your eyes like start burning as soon as you get it. I mean, it's brutal. So it's super salty, super buoyant water. So if you fall into the water, you're not going to have as much trouble treading. And if you have some sort of flotation device, you're going to be what's called positively buoyant, okay? So there's 3 types of buoyancy. You have negatively buoyant, means you're going to sink to the bottom. At this body of water, it's 12,000 feet deep. And neutrally buoyant is what like scuba divers want to be. You'll notice that scuba divers have specific weight belts. So they want to be neutrally buoyant so they can... Okay, this video here is 4 to 6 feet of swells. You're going to see. Look how much our boat is banging around here. This is 4 to 6 feet. I did this brief. I looked this up. You can track tides and currents very easily if you're a quartermaster. So here's what's happening. You'll see my little radar down there. I'm looking for other boats as well. I'm looking for, if they're going to come from the side or whatever, because I'm the forward gunner. If I see a boat coming in, I need to start putting metal down in the ocean. But anyway, here we go. So we're approaching this craft. That's a landing craft utility. Those are huge in Vietnam. That's Assault Craft Unit 1. They're out there at nighttime. They're pissed that we're having to do this. But, but as you see, the waves are pretty raucous. They're pretty unmanageable, okay? This is pretty much worst case scenario, 4 to 6 feet in a VBSS mission. Now, when you're a hard charge and Navy SEAL, you get a little amendment to that SOP, okay? If you're SWCC, you get an amendment to that SOP. Okay, say there are 4 to 6 foot swells, but they're pretty manageable. There is an amendment to the SOP. This is in the investigation that was probably provided in the brief to the captain of the Puller. Hey, if it's 8 to 10 feet and it's manageable and SWCC says that it's okay to make this hit, then we're going to make the hit, okay? Navy SEALs and a lot of these special operations groups do not really quit, okay? The quote is find a way to say yes. So they're going to do it. And we would do it as well. I mean, sea state is only a prediction. It's not exact. And sea state can turn on your butt in a hurry, okay? You also have something called secondary swell. So you have a swell going this way and a swell going this way. Remember when I talked to you about beam? That's when the boat really starts moving. You're getting this right here, okay? Secondary swell is a nightmare as far as VBSS is concerned. But the way it was briefed, there was only one swell going one direction. So we're going to assume that the SWCC guys, the boat drivers, know how to manage that craft. Here we go. Investigation continues. While en route to the VOI, seas were assessed at 6 to 7 feet by the navigator aboard the CCA. So the navigator is a SWCC guy. The navigator's saying, hey, it's starting to get heavier. This is an eye test, though. I mean, what is it really? It's an eye test. There's not like a range finder and you can tell how high the swells are. You generally look at, each boat has a water line, right? And you look at that water line, and when the water is up and down, you kind of make a guesstimation of how much that water is moving. And that's what the SWCC guy did, I'm sure. The SEALs and SWCC did 2 prior VBSS missions, successful missions. They're on their 3rd mission. They're not tired. They're fine. These guys can do it day after day after day. The training is day after day after day. So this isn't a big deal. The climb is actually not that big of a deal. I mean, it's a big deal, but they're really getting through the ship and mitigating any problems on the ship with guns. That's the problem. But okay, so they did 2 prior approaches. By the 3rd approach, the VOI, vessel of interest, did not have any forward momentum. So it's dead in the water. It means the bad guy driving that ship is like this. All right, boom. So he puts her in neutral and puts, just dead in the water. The problem with dead in the water is, if you've ever been on a warship like a destroyer or whatever, and you're dead in the water, you move way more, okay? You're rocking. You're now controlled more by the sea. You cannot push your boat into a swell. You're rocking like crazy. Seasickness at the absolute height when a vessel is not moving. Investigation continued. It was tough boarding due to it being spatially compact with 34 people aboard. Let's go over this. That is too many. That's a lot of people on a small dhow, okay? These dhows are maybe rated for 15 to 20 people. You got 34 people carrying all their gear on this dhow. That dhow is compromised as far as moving through the water, just like our boat would be if you had, 14 people instead of 8. Here's a graph from the investigation. You see 3 SWCC boats, 8 Navy SEAL operators on each boat. You have 2 Black Hawk helicopters, probably 2 to 4 snipers up there, maybe more. You have a small drone and you have a big drone. You have the capability to take out an entire country on one small dhow. That's really what's going on. As the role of the okay, so you have pitch and roll. Here's roll. Here's roll. As the role of the VOI, the vessel of interest, increased, some assaulters went over the rail directly without the use of a ladder to board the VOI. Okay, so you have a small point in the boat. You're going to see this in the video. So it rolls over, and hey, I could just kind of step onto it. So that's what they did. So it's rolling. They're saying it's probably 6 to 8 feet at this point. They call the seas sporty and spicy. Okay. Navy SEALs use funny words for these things, but they use in this brief, they say sporty and spicy concerning the atmosphere of climbing this dhow. They make the hits, okay? I'm guessing there's 3 boats. They did 1 boat on one side, 1 boat on the other side at the forward portion of the dhow, but there's not really room for another boat to come in because this dhow is not that long. People are already on the boat. So the 3rd boat comes in. Here's what I gather from this investigation. 3rd boat comes in. They start climbing on the back end of this dhow, which has a lot of places to grab onto. So one of these guys, whether it was Chris Chambers, the leading petty officer, this is the guy in charge of these guys, he's climbing up just the natural, that whatever the ship has for holds. They use a bunch of different terms with no pictures, so it's kind of hard to put the site picture together. Something noted in the investigation report that they had used a fresh coat of paint. Somebody also noted that this boat was slimy. It was very slick. The weather decks are slick. These boats are slimy. They are not clean. They are completely dirty. Who knows what's been in them? They're not clean boats. These people aren't using Fabuloso to clean the decks. Anyway, Chris Chambers is up there. He's not using the caving ladder. He's having trouble holding on. He slips off. He falls 9 feet into the drink. As he is going down, he grabs a hold of the caving ladder. He's being dragged by the caving ladder. This is all on video. The drone, the helicopters, they all have this on video. It's all being documented second by second. He gets hit with a wave, drops the caving ladder, goes under. Nathan Ingram jumps after him. This really confuses me. You would never, according to our training, you would never separate from a mission to save your buddy. You want to take care of the mission and then save the buddy. Also, you have people behind, that's their job. You have SWCC in the water. That's their job, right, to save the buddy. I'm not sure. Something missing from this is, did they do a 3-boat approach? If they did a 3-boat approach, and there is reason why they would use the back of this boat. If there is a 2-boat approach and there's one behind, there's no reason why you should use the back of this boat when it's way easier to climb at the center, at the beam of the boat, the middle of the boat. So Chris Chambers is in the water, can't hold on to the caving ladder. They're not moving anywhere, but the sea is controlled. The sea is controlling the whole situation. The sea engulfs Chris Chambers. Nathan Ingram sees it, and he jumps in after him. Nathan Ingram, in the middle of trying to save his buddy, he is holding on as well to the caving ladder. They both get dunked. It's just a struggle from here. These guys are struggling. They're trying to stay above water. Eventually, in 47 seconds, both of them never seen again. It's all on video. These guys drowned 12,000 feet to the deep. The investigation is like torturously sad. It is brutal because these guys are struggling, dude, to stay afloat in this situation. An unattached water wing appeared within approximately 1 foot of blank, one of the guys. I'm guessing it was Ingram in the last observed location. So a lot has happened in 47 seconds. These guys fall into the water. They try to save themselves. They use their flotation device. One of the guys' flotation goes in a different direction. It's not attached to his belt. We got a big cluster going on and 2 dead seals. You're going to see a man overboard, and you're going to see, and I'm going to tell you about the application of a water wing right here. Okay, so this is U.S. Marine Recon. They're using the same type of gear, except the location of their water wings is off the side hip. It's not in the front pelvis, okay? This is the USS Somerset. For some reason, after a long, long day of training, this captain of this ship thought it would be a good idea to do the most dangerous climb you can do. It was a wet night as well. Here he goes. Falls into the water. He's got his water wings, and he's got 80 pounds of gear as well. He's got his M4, he's got all of his plates, he's got all of his guns and knives and all the stuff that he carries. He's trying to get up that ladder. He falls in the water. He hits his head on the boat at that point. So he is out in the water. Now he is sinking in the water while he's knocked out. We have a man overboard, so our boat peels away. We get out of the way. Now this boat from behind comes in to save the guy underwater, but again, he's unconscious. So these Marines are staring at the water going, where the hell is this guy? Where is he? They're yelling. They're clicked in. They're all on the same radio. They're clicked in yelling. The guy underwater says that he heard his guys yelling through. That's what woke him up underwater. The Marine then goes to his water wings, pulls them, pow, but only one works. They do the maintenance, dude. They do the maintenance on these water wings. I've seen it. I saw it every time we did it. They're very meticulous with every step. He still floats easily right up to the top of the water. He's still positively buoyant with one water wing. They're not using the correct or proper flotation device throughout the special operation community, mainly because it makes you about 3 inches wider. Okay, so when you're climbing a ladder, the closer than you can get to that ladder is the less pressure you're putting on your muscles and your arms. So basically, it's like this or this. The flotation, it's bigger. It makes your kit bigger. It makes your plate carrier bigger. So that's one reason why they don't use them. Other than that, I don't know why they would be using these water wings for these things, because it's basically useless if the guy's shot. You know, if the guy gets shot and he's in the water, it's useless. It's pointless. The guy's not going to just think, oh, okay, you know, if he gets knocked out, I'm going to, you know, instinctually pull these water wings. In the middle of trying to stay afloat, okay? So when you're pulling these water wings, you're sinking. When you're wading in water, you're using your arms and your legs to stay afloat. You're really struggling if you got 80 to 100 pounds on you. And now you got to take away half of your propulsion, your propellers, and you got to pull these water wings. If SWCC had us using a specific plate carrier, which was pretty much drown-proof, then why are the Special Operations Unit using these little pouches that require a metal piece to work perfectly with a conscious person. If the guy's unconscious, this is a pointless gear. So, lots of questions here. Lots of questions. I also want to know what the approach of the boats were. So there's no SWCC perspective here because SWCC is under the banner of the Navy SEALs. But my question is, why use 3 boats? Why use 24 operators to take out this little ding? This was a major operation for not very much. This is just a little tiny dhow, okay? The reason why they were allowed to assault this dhow wasn't running a flag. It wasn't running. So when you're in international waters and you're not running a flag, like the flag of your country, that you are susceptible to an approach and a search and a board and a seizure. And so that's what this dhow was. They had gotten intel all the way up in Iran saying that this dhow has parts to make missiles, to launch missiles. There's not very many parts, though. I mean, this is not a very big operation, dude. This isn't like seizing a giant ship full of drugs or something like that. This is chicken scratch compared to, U.S. Navy VBSS teams have seized way more than this. If I was to look back and I was to run this whole operation, I would say that the kits need to be modified with that foam insert instead of these pouches I'm going to try to make this analogy here. Okay, so if I have pouches on the side, there's balance, okay? But if I have only pouches in the front, there's not balance. So if you put them on the side of your body, I think that there would be more balance upwards, right? So the direct path to positive buoyancy. But putting them by the pelvis, it seems like it would push me this way. My head would be going back in water as I'm running up. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I think that needs to be a big change when you're talking about the major issue is flotation. And I think that they need to switch over to the SWCC approved plate carriers instead of these water wings. But as I said, these water wings worked. One water wing pulled a Marine carrying all this gear to positive buoyancy. So I don't know what the issue is. I think there's more to this story. And I don't think that the American public has a need to know this stuff, if there is more to the story. But anyway, that is my take on this whole situation. Suni Williams, Butch Wilmer, a couple of Navy veterans, Navy pilots stuck in space for hundreds of days. They were only supposed to be there for 8 days. Now they're there hundreds of days. Suni Williams, 200 plus. Butch Wilmer's approaching 200 days. I mean, that's a long time, man. Sucks for them. There's reports going around that Suni Williams is not healthy. It would be pretty tragic to have one of our veterans dying up there because we didn't plan correctly. I like these investigative kind of reports, but they're kind of stressful because they usually involve somebody dying. So I'm gonna try to stay away from all items that are stressful in life because what's the freaking point, But I want you guys to have an awesome day. Again, subscribe, man. What's the point, dude? Why not? Why not subscribe? All right, you'll learn something. If not, you'll see something cool. I guarantee it. So have a great day. God bless you. Good night.